going to teach you how to make adjustments to your Kydex holsters using a little bit of heat, as well as things you should not do with your Kydex holsters. I did some testing recently on some old prototypes that were going to the trash anyway, as far as heat exposure goes. Put this holster I put in my vehicle. Is about a 95-ish degree day. Just threw it on the seat in there, let it sit in there for a few hours, and we'll get some close-ups of this. But you can see the Kydex kind of started raising. It deformed it a little bit. Don't quite have the retention there that we once had. And it's a lot bulkier because it's bulged. And then we put this one on the dashboard right in the direct sun, and as you can see, that took about an hour, and it totally deformed the holster beyond use. So make sure when you've got your Kydex holsters, if you're on the way home from the range and you're stopping somewhere, you know, depending on where you live, how hot the temperatures are getting, for the most part you're not going to have a lot of issues. If it's in a range bag or something like that in the trunk, not in the direct sunlight, you're probably okay. But you guys that live in the South and Arizona, New Mexico, places that have some pretty extreme temperatures, I would recommend not leaving your holster in your vehicle for any extended period of time. Like I said, that took an hour, but that was on the dashboard in the direct sunlight. But nobody wants that. So let's get into it. Things that you're going to need. I'm going to be using a heat gun. These can be found very cheap just about anywhere. You can find them as cheap as $10, as much as $50. I have found that the inexpensive ones work just as good, or sometimes better than the big ones. You can also use a hairdryer. Just a standard hairdryer will work. It's not as fast, which is kind of a good thing, because if you're not experienced with heating Kydex and reshaping and stuff like that, there's less chance of you overheating and ruining the Kydex with a hairdryer. The most important thing to remember whenever you're heating Kydex and changing the shape and things like that is to be patient, go slow. There's time to make things work, whereas if you rush them, it's easy to ruin a piece, and then you're kind of screwed after that. So a heat gun, a pair of gloves, some household type things to help shape. That's really all you need. It's easy to do. We're going to get some close-ups on the action here so you can see exactly what you need to do when you need to make those adjustments. Okay, let's give you a little closer look at these holsters and what happened to them. This one's pretty much a total loss. I mean, if you have a holster that you did this to, you could send it back in to me. I can refit it. It's just a lot more work. This isn't something that I would attempt on your own without some additional equipment. So, you know, for our purposes here right now, this one's going away. This one, on the other hand, not quite as bad. You know, stick a blue gun in there. You can see we aren't quite getting, you know, got a bit of a gap there. It's kind of bulging and just not where we want it anymore. So let's heat this bad boy up and do some reshaping. You're gonna want some gloves. Now, as you're doing this, keep the heat moving You don't need to heat up the entire thing, just the section that you want to remold. And right now we're looking at this area right in here. If you just sit there and hold the heat on there, you're gonna melt things and not be happy. So just keep it moving, you know, take it off every now and then, poke it. Okay, we're getting a little soft there. Let's that's about where we want it. Grab your gun, stick it in there, and then you're just gonna press. That's really all there is to it. Hold it down there for a minute or so. We've got good retention again. Now another issue, you know, we can see right here our sight channel is really kind of buggered up. It's kind of flattened out. So let's heat that up and see if we can't get that popped out a little better and showing more like we need it to. Now for this you're going to need some special equipment. The Bic pen. That'll do the job for our sight channel. And then if you have a ruler, this piece of wood here works just fine. You're going to use this to kind of press down and maybe tuck it underneath to get the shape that we want for the sight channel. So let's almost there. Pop the gun in. You see how that kind of rides up there. Press in there a little bit. You kind of hold that in place and press down. If you really want to get fancy, you could throw some tape on the pen to kind of hold it in place a little bit better. And then just let everything, leave that in there for a minute while that cools. Pull the pen out. Now we've got a much nicer looking sight channel. Good retention again. That's really all it takes when you're talking about adjusting the retention on your gun. If it's not tight enough, that's all you're doing. And like I said, a blow dryer is going to work really well. It's going to take a little longer to heat it up, but it'll get the job done also. Now let's suppose this retention is way too much. You know, it feels pretty good here on the bench, but once we get it inside the pants and got our belt on it, now it's just too tight. So to loosen it up, it's more of the same. As you heat this up, the Kydex is naturally going to want to lift, and I don't think you want to get it quite to that point, just to where it's a little soft. So you can see it's just a little soft there. You can just reach your finger under there and you can see it kind of lifting as you press in. Stick that back in there. Maybe up top you want to close it down again to keep that trigger guard covered. But you know, now it's a little looser. You know, and take your time, like I said. Go slow, work it easy. If you have to heat this up again, it's not a problem. Unless you start overheating it, you overheat it, and then things tend to get a little bit brittle and stuff like that. So I hope that's going to answer a lot of the questions that I've been getting on how to adjust retention and make the adjustments on the Kydex. But it's really very simple. You don't need any special equipment necessarily to accomplish what you need to. If you have any more questions, shoot me an email, jason@concealmentsolutions.com. Thanks for watching.